Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica, and in today's video I'm going to go over my reading for the first half of August, and I am sweating up a storm. Okay, so August. I'm going to put my hair back because holy crap, it is hot in here, and it is like in the high 90s, and I'm already wanting fall, so this is like killing me. But let's get into the books. I have a lot of books to go over because so far the first part of the month has been excellent. The first 5 stars that I had was the first book I read, and it was The Resistance of Witches by Morgan Ryan. This is a new to me author, and this was a debut, and I was blown away by this debut because the writing was so good. The pacing, the plotting, the characterization was so good. The characters, they were flawed. They were meant to be flawed. So we follow our heroine. Her name is Lydia. She's 19 years old, and this is in London in 1943, and you have the British witches who are opposed to the Nazis. The Nazi witches are after this book, this grimoire that basically could end everybody with a spell. Like literally you say a spell and it will kill an entire population. And so it would be very devastating if the Nazis got their hands on this book. So Lydia's mentor, Isadora, I think her name was Isadora. Her name was Isadora, I believe. Anyway, but that doesn't really matter. She is killed. Someone has betrayed her, and her best friend Kitty is also killed. And so Lydia goes to France to try and find this grimoire. She meets Henry, who is a Black American from Louisiana, and Rebecca, who's a French resistance woman who's also Jewish. And Henry has a touch of magic, and Rebecca is very much a normal person. And it is their story. They're trying to track down this book, and once they do, they have to figure out how to destroy it or how to use it to save the world from the Nazis. And it was really well paced. I loved the characters. I loved the world that the author built within a historical context. It was fantastic. I highly recommend it. I gave it 5 stars, and it was a historical fiction with paranormal. So, and then I read When the World Fell Silent by Donna Jones Allward. This is a pick for Leave It to the Pros Book Club, and I gave it 4.5 stars. It was 1917, and it takes place during World War I in Halifax, Canada, and we follow a couple of people, Charlotte and Nora. So Nora, she is pregnant. The guy who impregnated her went off to war, and we don't know what happened to him for a good part in the book, but she is a nurse and she's working in Halifax. And then we have Charlotte, who's a war widow, and then she has her daughter Aileen. And then there's this explosion in the port of Halifax that basically decimated a good portion of the lower income part of Halifax. And so Charlotte wakes up in the hospital. She cannot find her daughter. Nora, her sister, her niece, and her parents were down at the docks looking at the boats as they were coming in when this happened. They can't find her niece, but her sister and her parents unfortunately did not survive. And now she's pregnant and has her other niece to take care of, and she's a nurse, and she's going to have to leave her job because she couldn't work as a nurse while being pregnant. And her sister ran this boarding house, so you have all these boarders. So this one doctor named Dr. Neil McLeod comes in to help with the wounded during this mass casualty event, and it is a romance between Nora and Neil, and it is wonderfully written. I really liked Charlotte's arc of what happened to her and how everything turned out for her. I loved both of their character growths. The characters were written really well. I really liked the historical aspect of it, and I gave it 4.5 stars, and I think you should read it. And then I read Road Trip with a Rogue by Kate Bateman. This is book 3 in her Rogues of Rune series. I think that's what it's called. This one is a lot of fun, and it is about our heroine Daisy. She is going after this couple who's about to elope, and she stops the wrong carriage, and she stops the carriage of this duke who 5 years ago they kissed, and she hates him. He really loves Daisy, and it is chef's kiss. They get into a lot of hijinks. They get into a lot of stuff that happens on the road. I ate this one up. I loved it. I loved the audiobook. The audiobook was fantastic. I loved our characters, and they were trying to get up to Gretchen and Green. And then during this time, Daisy and the Duke, they sort of come to an agreement, and he has to win Daisy over, and it's harder than he thinks. And I absolutely loved it. I gave 5 stars. I recommend that one wholeheartedly. And then I read second edition by Cleo Evans, and I was seeing this one floating around, and I wanted to try it, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. So for my first 4 books, 1 4.5, 3 5 stars. I'm like, what is going on? I absolutely love it. So this one is amazing. I absolutely love this one. This is about Joe and Ellis. They meet at a faculty mixer. They hook up in the back of his car. She is innocent. He is a French librarian, and he's a single dad to an autistic girl. And she is the dean's daughter. He didn't know who she was, and she didn't really know who he was when they hooked up. And then after the hookup, Ellis is given the opportunity to go back to France for a few months to catalog this library for second edition books. And he needs a babysitter because he's really on thin ice because he can't keep a babysitter. Everything is just a mess in his life. And so Joe is given the opportunity to be the nanny to his daughter. She accepts it before she knows who Ellis is, because she was tired of the way her life was going. She was about ready to graduate with a degree that she didn't really want, but she did it in support of her family. And it is their love story, and I absolutely loved it. I loved all the characters, including his daughter. I loved how his daughter and Joe really connected, and this book, I ate it up. It was quick. It was wonderful. Had the spice in it. It had the heart in it and the emotions, the angst. I loved it. 5 stars for that one. And then I got an ALC first season of The Witch, and I got it through NetGalley. Yes, it was NetGalley. I had to think about that for a second. And I gave this one 4.5 stars. This one is about Tia and Henry. This is Amnesia, which is why I choose second bed, and I was all over this one. So Tia and Henry, they used to date, and then something happened and they stopped liking each other. I'm sorry. Walter's in here, so if you're hearing the meowing in the rustling around, it's Walter. He likes my room. Anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, so they work at a company, but they're competing for the top job. But she gives him a potion that gives him amnesia, but he can only not remember anything that has to do with Tia. She's completely wiped from his memories. However, he starts to remembering things, and it is their love story because they kind of get a do-over, because all the messiness and all the hurt feelings and all the pride, they have to put themselves out there in order to get their HEA. And I absolutely loved it. It had Halloween feels because of the witches. It had because it was during Christmas time, and so they were at a house party in England with the aristocracy. So you had that with all the holiday cheer, including New Year's. It was awesome. I loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. So let's go to the next book, which was Black Knight by Connie Mason. This is for the historical Hellions, and I gave 4 stars. It is fun. So Drake is our hero. He's the Black Knight, and he fell in love with this lady, and they were going to run away together. But the lady's sister, Raven, she was 12 years old at the time, was in love with him. He thought that she told her father that they were about to run away, when in fact it wasn't her. And he comes back years later. She's about to be married to her sister's widow. He is going there for the prize money. He's a favorite of the king. He's a great knight. And the man that Raven was supposed to marry is his half-brother, who is really sneaky and conniving and is the villain. And it is their romance. And when he comes back, he was like, oh wow, she turned into such a beautiful woman and stuff. And she still has feelings for him. She does not want to marry her fiance. And it is all kinds of angsty and drama. And it is so much fun. I had so much fun reading this book. I loved it from the beginning to the end. It was everything I wanted this to be in a Connie Mason book. I loved all the drama. I loved all the action because there's a lot of action in it. And I loved how everything just sort of turned around, and how our hero, the Black Knight, who is Drake, how he gets his happy ending with Raven. It is just so good. You have to read this. This is for Historical Hellions, so if you haven't picked up, you should. And then I read Till Summer Do Us Part by Megan Quinn because everybody's been talking about it. So I grabbed the audiobook and I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. And I gave it 4.5 stars. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this. This was so funny. Scotty, our heroine, she needs a husband after she lies about having a husband and they're having marital problems. She does this to fit in with her coworkers because her coworkers are very much, they just love marriage, okay? And so in walks in her best friend's brother named Wilder, and he is a character. He loves improv and he goes balls to the walls with their story, and she's like, what is going on? And she ends up playing into it, and there's so much great banter between Scotty and Wilder. And this is their romance because they end up going to the summer camp for adults who need marriage counseling. And it has her brand of humor, but it really worked in this one. It really worked. I absolutely adored Scotty, absolutely adored Wilder. I loved their romance. I loved their motivation and how they just worked together. It was fantastic. And the banter was chef's kiss in this one, so I had to give it 4.5 stars. And then I read Local Hero by Nora Roberts. This is part of me trying to get through Nora Roberts' backlist. This one is about Hester. She's a banker and she's a single mom, and this takes place in the late 80s when it was written. Mitch is a comic book author and she has a son, and her son loves his comic books. His comic books are like very famous in this world. Anyway, they're very cute together. They are neighbors. He goes up to give him the pizza that she ordered that was delivered to his apartment, and then he ends up bonding with her son, and it's their romance. And she has some problems because of how her ex treated her. And it was a solid romance. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. There wasn't really anything that was problematic in this one, and I'd recommend this one. And then I listened to Love and Other Killers by Brendan Weaver. This is a short, unhinged story about all the characters from the Ruinous Love trilogy, and it also introduces the new upcoming book that comes out next month, and it was fine. It was what it was. It was short, unhinged serial killers playing a game, and we get some context to who the heroine is in her next book, Taurus Season, that comes out in September. So I gave that one 4 stars because I just had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I got the ALC for Antihero by C.W. Farnsworth, and I gave this one 5 stars. And this is Surprise Baby, so just be aware of that. But you know me, a surprise baby. I love me a good surprise baby romance. And this one was just everything I wanted for a one night stand and more. He's a billionaire, and his name is Kit. Her name is Collins. He's had a crush on her since him and his family brought his older sister to college. Collins and his older sister were college roommates and became best friends. And then she moved to New York from Chicago after her ex cheated on her, and they end up having the one night stand. She ends up getting pregnant, doesn't know she's pregnant when she accepts a job at his family's company, ends up being his personal assistant. And it was a lot of fun. It was angsty. It was dramatic. It was everything I wanted in this type of romance. It was surprise baby. It was one night stand, forced proximity. It was taboo, older woman, younger man. The third act conflict was a good third act conflict. It actually worked in the realm of this story, and I absolutely loved everything. I loved the characters. I loved how they grew together and how they grew individually, and I just had a lot of fun, and I gave it 5 stars. And then I read Year One by Nora Roberts. This is book 1 in the Chronicles of the One series. It's a trilogy, and this one starts off in a pandemic. My gosh. Okay. So this one kind of brought me back to 2020. So like I said, before I had to get a drink, this one brought me back to 2020 because we have patient 0 who goes from the Highlands of Scotland back to New York City and infects the world with this doom virus. And everybody is trying to survive, but it has 100% fatality rate for those who are not immune. and the people are not immune. They're either human, who has the antibodies, or this virus triggers a gene in them where they become an elf, a fae, a sorcerer, a witch, some type of magical being. And we see these magical beings being hunted not just by the human factions who basically go crazy and they're like, we're gonna kill them all, but also the ones like the sorcerers and the magical beings who go dark. And we see Lana and Max, and they're both witches. And we also see Katie, who's the daughter of Patient Zero, of the two Patients Zero, and she's having twins. And they're trying to get out of New York City. They get out of New York City, and then it kind of goes like Stephen King's The Stand, where they make this little community, and then these really evil people come. Lana, by this point, is pregnant, and she has to escape because they want to kill her and her baby. The cliffhanger. I have to read the next one. I haven't read the next one yet because I would have read the next one by now. But I ended up getting a couple of arcs. And the first arc I got was and this is the last book that I'm putting on this because I haven't finished the other. I got 4 arcs within 24 hours. So actually 5 arcs. Yeah, 5. I've already read one. I'm almost done with the second one. And then I have 3 more I have to get through this weekend. So this one is My Favorite Lost Cause by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I finished this morning while I was getting ready for work. And this is book 2 in the favorite series. This one's about Marin and Charlie. So we saw Marin in the beginning. She was Kit's older sister. She was dating Miller, who is Kit's love interest in the first book, right? So you get that whole angsty stuff. We also see that Marin was married to a really horrible man, and her mom and her husband, ex-husband, should go to jail for all the crap they put on her. Like, oh my gosh, some of the things he did and some of the things that her mom said, I'm just like, you guys are toxic and evil. Like, stop. Anyway, I digress, but that they really made me mad. So they are actually step siblings because Charlie's dad is married to Marin's mom. And so, but they did not grow up together. They were just sort of around each other. He's always had a thing for her. It's always been you. Always been you. His mom recently died and left him a mansion down in Charleston, South Carolina. And so she goes with him to help him to decide what to do. And then she sees this house and she falls in love with this house very, very quickly. Like, she falls in love with this house, and it's a real dump, and it could be condemned, right? But because it's her and he has a hard time saying no to her, they start to fix it up. And he's like, this is a lost cause. Like, why are we fixing this up? But she also feels a kindred spirit to this house. Like, there's a bit of a ghost element where she feels like she knows the owner before, one of the original owners, because she's like, I just get these feelings like I was like this lady named Margaret. And that was kind of fun. I absolutely love her character. She's a little quirky, little flighty. She's very solid, and she knows herself. She knows she can be too much for everybody but Charlie. She's just enough for Charlie. She is who she is with Charlie. And Charlie is a man horror and a drunk, except when he's around Marin. And so they go down to fix this house up. Her ex-husband does some pretty bad things while she's down there. Finally, they had enough. Like, Charlie, I loved how he flew up there to take care of her ex-husband. That was a fantastic little thing that happened. But they finally give in to their feelings. And we find out in the first book that she's having problems with infertility, and this plays into what happens in the third act and how horrible her family actually is. Not Kit and Miller and her stepdad, but or even his dad, which is her second stepdad. So anyway, this book is so good. It is angsty, it's forbidden, it has characters who are very flawed, but they grow and they change and they become who they're supposed to be. And the third act conflict, I saw it coming a mile away. It might throw some people off, but it's one of my favorite tropes. And if you've been around here for a while, you know what I'm talking about. I loved how that happened and why it happened. So Marin's motivation through the most of this, she wants to have a family. She was trying to get pregnant with her husband, and Charlie, after what he saw with his mom, how his mom suffered, wanted nothing to do with kids. So I'm gonna leave it there. Let me tell you when it's coming out, because I honestly don't remember. It is coming out August 28th. Anyway, so that's it for the first half of August. Those are my 5 stars, 4 stars, and 4.5 stars. And I think it was a really good start to the month. I cannot wait to finish the Chronicles of One series by Nora Roberts. I have to read The Things We Water by Mariana Zapata. And if you hear me talking about it, you know it's gonna be good. If you don't hear me talking about it, then move along, I guess. I don't know. And I have those arcs. So anyway, that is it. Let me know if you've read any of these down below. And if you have, what did you rate them? Let me know if you are excited about my favorite Lost Cause that's coming out. And let me know all the things. And if you made this far in this video and you want to let me know that you're here, please leave me a, you know what? Leave me a bikini emoji, because there is a bikini top that is on the cover of my favorite Lost Cause. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.